Let's look at street lighting, and the main objectives of street lighting are: one, to make the street more attractive; two is to increase the community value of the street; and lastly, third is to make the traffic and obstructions on the road clearly visible in order to promote safety and convenience. So the principles employed for street lighting are different from that of interior lighting. There are no walls and ceilings which reflect or diffuse light, hence direct lighting scheme can be employed, and hard shadows and high contrast cannot be avoided. Because of areas to be illuminated being large, the value of illumination for economic reasons is very low compared to that for indoor lighting, and the question of color rendering is also a minor importance. High-level illumination is not necessary because, firstly, one has seldom to look continuously at nearby objects. Secondly, is the impression of whole scene that is required. In fact, in case of interior lighting, the objects are seen in a relatively bright background. For example, silhouetted against a relatively bright background. Furthermore, owing to the low illumination, the eye is in its most sensitive state, and therefore glare must be avoided. Illumination level for street lighting and mounting heights of lamps. So the illumination required depends upon the class of street installation. In class A, installations, for example, important shopping centers and road junctions, illumination level of 30 lumens per meter squared is required. Whereas in a poorly lighted suburban streets, illumination level of 4 lumen per meter squared is sufficient. An average well-lighted street will require illumination level between 8 to 15 lumens per meter squared. Excellent illumination is considered when the distance apart is not more than 8 times the height of the luminaires. That is, with illumination with the luminaires of about 8 meters and above street level, they should be spaced at not more than 64 meters. Normal spacing for standard lamps is 50 meters with a mounting height of 8 meters. So you look, the distance between this one and this one should be about 50 to 64 meters between the two street lights. Then the height should be 8 meters. That is the standard height. Okay. So lamp posts should always be fixed at the junction of roads, and as far as possible, lamps near large trees should be avoided. Let's look at types of lamps for street lighting. So one, we have the mercury vapor and sodium discharge lamps. These have been found to have certain particular advantages for street lighting purposes. The most important of this is that lower power consumption for a given amount of light, which in spite of the higher cost of the lamps, makes the overall cost of an installation with discharge lamps less than that employing filament lamps. The color and the monochromatic nature of the light produced by discharge lamps do not matter much in street lighting installations. Remember, nowadays we even have the solar ones, the solar lamps, which can be put on the street street lamps supports. Again, we have the LEDs, which replaces the mercury vapor lamp and sodium vapor lamps. You know, mercury vapor lamps and sodium vapor lamp consumes a lot of power. So nowadays they are being replaced by solar type and the LED types, that is the light emitting diodes type. Now we'll be looking at the wiring of the street light in our next